Hi, this is Paul from Akorro. In this quick start guide, I'll be walking you through the process for creating articles with Akorro. Akorro is a platform for creating long-form articles that can be used to drive free traffic to your online business, whether that be an e-commerce store, a service-based business, or a blog. For this walkthrough, it doesn't matter if you are on the free trial or a paid subscription. The process and features are the same. Before the walkthrough, I'll take a moment to explain the workflow that will take us from article ideas to published articles. Our workflow starts by creating a project, shown here on the left. Projects are where I'll execute the workflow to create articles and where I'll spend most of my time. Importantly, everything created in a project shares the same settings. The key settings are shown here. The first is target audience, where we will configure who the readers are for our articles. Next, we have the writing style guide. This tells Akorro what writing rules to apply to our articles. And finally, image, where I can configure the image style to generate from my article featured images. Within our project, we will execute a repeating workflow. This is shown on the right, starting with the generating of article ideas, which are usually based off a keyword seed or a URL. After selecting an idea, we generate an outline for that idea. Next, we generate or add supporting research. This will be used to inform our article. Then we generate the article, and optionally we generate a featured image. Finally, we publish. Akorro supports direct publishing to common blog platforms like WordPress. Now I'll show you what the workflow looks like in practice. When you register and log in for the first time, you'll typically land on the dashboard page. I'll click the New Project button. I can call the project anything I like. For this demo, I'm going to use the name of a fictitious online art store. And for consistency, I'll stick with the art store theme throughout this demo. After the project has been created, I recommend going to the project settings. I'll click the three dots and on the project menu, click Settings. On the settings page, I have some options. It's a good idea for me to set these options now as they have an effect on the workflow assets Akorro generates, including my finished articles. These settings will apply to all articles created under this project. First, I will add some target audiences. These audiences tell Akorro who the intended readers are for my articles. I don't have any audiences set up yet, so I'll click Manage, and for this demo, I'll add two audiences. I'll choose art lovers and home decor enthusiasts. I'll click Done. Then, having added my audiences, I now have to select them. Next, I will select a writing style guide. At a basic level, guides apply a consistent set of writing rules to my articles, including, but not limited to, tone and structure. I can select from a set of standard guides, or I can create custom guides that can be either manually written or automatically generated from a piece of existing content. We could spend a whole video on just this topic, but for this quick start demo, we'll just select the casual standard guide. Lastly, I can select the image style for generating featured images. I'll save the settings and return to the dashboard. Back at the dashboard, I will now start the article creation workflow. I will click my project. Step 1 in our workflow is to generate some article ideas. You can generate ideas based on a keyword seed or URL, or you can create ideas manually. A keyword can be any term or phrase related to your product, service, or other terms related to your business. A URL could be, for example, a product or category page, or any piece of content that you want to create supporting content for or bridge readers to. For this demo, we'll create ideas based on a keyword. But as you'll see, the process is the same for creating ideas from a URL. I'll start by clicking the Generate Ideas button in the top right of the screen. I'll choose Keyword. For the keyword, I'll enter Japanese wall art prints. I'll hit Generate and close the pop-up. In the top right, I notice a number 1 appearing over the workflow status icon. I'll click the icon to open the workflow status panel. Here, I can see the status of the request I just submitted. Every request made on the Akorro platform is queued and executed in the background. I could safely navigate away from this panel and get on with something else while I wait for the request to complete, but for this demo, I'll just wait here. After a minute or so, I see my request has completed. I'll close the workflow status panel. At the top of the groups panel, I'll click the refresh icon to refresh the list. I see I have a new group called Japanese wall art prints. This matches the keyword I used earlier. Also note the keyword icon, indicating the group of generated ideas is based on a keyword. I'll click the group and find that I have a list of generated ideas appearing on the right. The ideas are made up of article titles and summaries. I can choose to edit these titles and summaries if I want. And if I wanted to generate more ideas, I can click the Generate More Ideas button. Now that I have generated some ideas, it's time to select one of those ideas and generate an outline for it. With my keyword group selected on the left, I'll click the 3 dots on my chosen idea and select Generate Outline. I'll close the pop-up and click on the workflow status icon to monitor the status of the request. After a minute or so, I see the request has completed. I'll close the workflow status panel and refresh my list of ideas. After refreshing, I see that the outline icon for the selected idea is highlighted and has become clickable. I'll click it to go to the Outline Editor page. On the Outline Editor page, I see the full generated outline laid out in sections. Here I can make changes. For example, I can drag and drop to reorder sections. I can add or delete sections. I can edit section headings, summaries, and topics. I can drag and drop to reorder topics, and I can also add or delete topics. For now, I'm happy with the generated outline and will return to the previous page. The next step in our workflow deals with research. In this context, research will be used as the primary basis for informing my article. Here, I have a couple of options. I could manually add my own knowledge, insights, and expertise, or I can let AI automatically generate the research. For this demo, I'll ask AI to generate it. I'll select Generate Research from the Idea menu and click Generate. I'll monitor the request as before from the Workflow Status panel. Once the request is completed, I'll close the Workflow Status panel and refresh my list of ideas. I see the research icon is now highlighted. I'll click it to go to the Research Editor page. On the editor page, I can review and edit the research as needed. This includes adding my own insights, unique angles, and expertise if I wish. One important thing to note about manually adding insights is that the information added must be supported by the article's outline, or the information may be excluded in the final article because AI has deemed it to be irrelevant. Let's say I'm happy with the generated research. I'll return to the previous page. The next step in the workflow is to generate the article. The generated article will be primarily based on the outline and research assets and associated metadata. It will also be influenced by the target audiences and the writing style guide configured earlier in this video. I'll select Generate Article from the Idea menu and monitor the request status using the Workflow Status panel. This request will generally take the longest time to complete. After several minutes, I see the article has completed. I'll refresh my list of ideas. I see that the article icon is highlighted and has become clickable. I'll click it to go to the Article Editor page. Here, I can review and make edits to the article. If I had connected my blog to Akorro, I would be able to publish the article directly from this page. Notice I have an option on the right to upload or select a featured image. Let's deal with images now. Back on the previous screen, I'll click Generate Images from the Idea menu. Again, I'll monitor the progress of the request from the Workflow Status panel. When completed, I'll close the Workflow Status panel. I'll refresh my list. I see that the images icon is highlighted and has become clickable. I'll click it to show the images created for this article. If I click an image, I can see a larger version. I can also use the right-click menu to copy or save the image to my computer. I'll return to the Article Editor page. The page now shows the generated images. I will select one to use as a featured image. I also have the option to upload an image from my computer if I want to use that as a featured image. So that's the basic end-to-end workflow for creating articles. If you want to explore more features of the platform, you can check out our other videos. I hope you have found this quick start guide useful. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.